There is one thing that I install almost immediately when I first create a garden bed, and it's something that most people don't think about until things start falling apart on them. And that is how you're going to water. So I strongly recommend using drip irrigation in terms of watering your garden bed for a couple of reasons. And today I'm going to talk about that. So today I'm going to walk you through why drip irrigation is such a great thing. I'm going to walk you through the components of drip irrigation, and I'm actually going to show you how to go ahead and install it. It's this new garden bed that I created right in front of our showroom that we opened a couple weeks ago. So why is drip irrigation important? So a lot of people think that if they have in-ground sprinklers, that that's going to be enough to water your plants. And honestly, that's a really bad misconception. And the reason being is in-ground irrigation is great for watering things like your lawn. It does a great job of overhead watering, but it never really gets the water to where it needs to go when it comes to your garden bed. So the water really needs to be focused in on the root zone and the root ball of your plants and your shrubs and your trees. Your overhead irrigation doesn't do that. It's going to water, like it sounds like, from overhead, and it's really going to be blocked by the leaf canopy from getting to where it needs to go. So, and that can create other problems too. Like in the heat of the summer, it could probably create some mildew or other pest issues throughout the months of August, September, and down the road. Drip irrigation lets you fully target where you need that water to grow. So you literally are putting the emitters right at the root zone. So you're not wasting any water by just having it broadcast all over the place. You're literally just sending the water exactly where it needs to go. The other thing that you need to think about is maybe you don't have in-ground sprinklers. So you need to figure out a way to water that garden bed. Well, if you were to install in-ground sprinklers, that is very, very costly versus something like a drip irrigation system, which may cost you only a couple $100 if you get the parts and pieces from Amazon. So it's really not that expensive, and it could save you a lot of trouble in the long run. The other reason why drip irrigation is so important, especially at the start of the garden bed, is because you want to make sure that those roots are getting exactly what they need to make sure that that plant gets established exactly the way you want. So there's a lot of times where I have planted something in the past, or I've seen somebody plant something in the past, and it looks great for that first day or two, and then it completely starts to struggle because it never got the nutrients and the water that it needs in order for it to thrive. Because you really want to make sure that that root zone is really getting into the neighboring soil around it to help that plant grow and produce. It also helps make sure that you are watering things on a consistent basis. I mean, everything thrives from consistency, and plants are no different. So if you water something for 30 minutes one day and you don't water it until 7 days later, and you only give it a 10-minute water, then you're drowning it another 15 days later, nothing's really happening with the plant. But if you are making sure that every day they get the same amount of water, that's really going to help you in the long run. Now we're going to be doing a really basic setup here because this garden bed is not very intricate. So let me tell you what parts and pieces you need. The first thing that you're going to need is a timer. Now this particular timer I have only has one place where you can attach the hose. I have also gotten a splitter for it. There are other timers on here where you can attach up to 4 different hose links, which really helps if you have multiple zones that you're running. The reason I attached a splitter here is because one side is going to be for my drip irrigation and one side is going to be for my hose. That's all I need here. This timer is also going to be set to run for about 20 minutes every day in the morning. And it's probably going to run for maybe about the next 2-3 months. And then I'm just going to watch the weather. This timer also has the capability to make sure that if it's raining, it's not also going to run, so the plant isn't getting double the amount of moisture, which is really, really helpful. The next thing that you need is 1/2-inch tubing. Now this is going to be my main line that my emitters run off of. This is what is going to get attached to the timer. Now your 1/4-inch drip tubing is what is then going to attach to your 1/2-inch drip tubing and going to be where the emitters are also placed. Now from there, you're actually going to need your connections that connect your 1/2-inch drip main line to your 1/4-inch drip tubing, and then you're going to need your actual emitters. And that's basically it. So let's go ahead and get this set up. This literally usually takes me about a half hour.
All right, here's exactly how this goes in, and I'm going to walk you through it step by step because the order actually really matters here. So step 1, before I lay anything down in the bed, I attach 2 key pieces that come with the 1/2-inch mainline tubing. The first connects directly to your spigot. The second caps off the far end of the line. I always do this first before I even figure out the path. Now step 2, from here I map out where the main line is going to run based on the layout of the bed. And in this case, I had to think about walkways, so I ended up needing to connect 2 half-inch lines together to make it longer, so that I could snake it around the pathways in order to disturb the least amount of pavers. Now step 3, once the main line is in place, I start running the 1/4-inch lines and placing the emitters. The emitters that I'm using have a wider circular spread. All that means is that rather than just targeting a single root ball, I can usually cover about 2 to 4 smaller plants with each one. That makes a real difference in a densely planted bed, because you're not running a separate line to every single plant, but instead you're thinking about it more in terms of zones. Now you can get a variety of connectors depending on what you need, but these specific connectors I'm using allow me to run up to 4 1/4-inch lines off of a single point on the main line. So basically what that means is instead of punching into the main line over and over, I can consolidate and keep the whole system a lot cleaner. The 1/4-inch tubing can sometimes take some pressure to connect. So if you're dealing with any stiffness or strain in your hands like I am, sometimes lightly warming the end of the tubing with a lighter just for a few seconds, and it helps to really slide on a lot easier. There are also versions with easier connectors that skip this step entirely, but I'll make sure to link everything in the description. So at this point, I'm really just working my way through the bed, placing emitters between root zones, making sure every plant has coverage, and adjusting where I need to. It's really methodical more than anything else. And there is no perfect system here. Just trust your layout, trust your coverage, and remember you can always adjust. You can always add more emitters or turn emitters off if you think you have too many. Now, this is probably one of the least exciting parts of the garden. There's nothing photogenic about poly tubing tucked under mulch. But here's what I believe about this kind of work. The invisible work, or the infrastructure, the things that nobody sees, that's what everything else is built on. The full season bloom, the established shrubs, the beautiful vegetable bed that just keeps producing. None of that happens without consistency underneath it. And I think about that sometimes in other areas of life too. The things that hold everything up are rarely the things that get the attention that they deserve, but they are always the things that determine what's actually possible. Now, once everything is in place, I give it a test run, stake everything down, and then I'm going to go ahead and put the mulch over the top of it.
All right, I am going to leave all the materials that I use in the description box, but if you guys have any questions at all on the setup, just leave them in the comments and I will make sure to get back to them. Also, let me know if drip irrigation is something you guys are already using or have been considering using but just didn't really know where to start, because I know that's the way I was for quite some time, and then once I did go ahead and try it, it completely changed the way I garden. Hope you guys are having a good day, and I will see you in the garden.